Hey world, welcome. This is your girl, Marky Lemons-Ryhal, real estate keynote speaker and Facebook Live host. And today I am 100% elated because I get to talk to none other than Mrs. Katie Lance. How you doing, Katie?
Hey, Marky, I'm fired up. I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
You know what? First of all, I know you might not know this, but I remember when I was teaching myself social media and technology, and I would get these Inman newsletters, and I'm like, oh, they got a lady on there. And I've been watching you ever since you were at Inman, and I'm like, I want to
Wow.
know social media and technology just like she knows social media and
Well, thank you.
technology. And then since then, the two of us, we were on Water Cooler together.
Yep.
And then after Water Cooler, Carrie and I reached out to you to go on to Blab, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yes,
Uh,
that was a fun platform.
it was a fun platform while it lasted.
Right.
And so today, I know that you coach realtors globally, that you have a exclusive agreement with Berkshire Hathaway, and that you believe in systems because of your family structure.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm new or social media and technology hasn't been effective for my business. What is the one thing you would recommend that a realtor do immediately?
That's a big question. Well, I think first of all, as you know, social media and technology, it can be really overwhelming for a lot of people because just like you said, I mean, things change. We were on one platform a couple years ago. That's no longer true. Now we're on another platform. So I think that can be really intimidating. Usually, one of the first things that I recommend agents and brokers do is to look at where they're at right now online, especially with social media. So some people may have been on Facebook for years and years and they haven't done a whole lot with it, or maybe they're not even, really active on social media. I always like to just suggest that people do a little bit of a self-audit of themselves. Take 10 or 15 minutes, pull up, if you're on Facebook, pull up maybe your LinkedIn, dust that off, Twitter, like whatever you've created over the years. And I don't necessarily believe that just because you have all these accounts doesn't mean they have to all be active. In fact, if they're kind of out of date, then there may be an opportunity just to maybe put those inactive, just temporarily, so you can kind of figure out what your strategy is, and just kind of see where you're at. Especially with Facebook, is your profile up to date? Do you have some contact information? If I were to come across your profile, would I even know you're in real estate? So just kind of some basic stuff just to get yourself started. And then you can start to think about, okay, what platforms do I want to be on? Where are my clients hanging out? And how can I create a system for that?
Great. Now, you know what you just said that is resonating with me. We have a private Facebook group, and the only way to get in that group is if you're in real estate. And
Mm.
so we ask three questions. And I will tell you about 30% of the people we do not let in because we don't see real estate anywhere in their profile. And what we will do is a courtesy to actually click on the profile
Yep.
to see if the profile looks like you do real estate. And so about 30% of licensees, they don't identify the company they work for. They don't have realtor, real estate, nothing
Right, right.
in their
And a lot of
profile.
times it's because they've locked down their privacy settings, which I totally understand. But at the same time, there's certain things that you want to have public, like you said, where they work, what brokers they're at, just the fact they're in real estate, and then, an email or website so I can get a hold of you.
I joke, but I'm telling the truth. Secret agents don't get found. And so you're
Exactly.
not telling people what you do, then you're going to be the one who's mad next week when your next door neighbor lists with someone else. And they'll say, oh, I thought you only did that part-time or that you weren't serious because it's nowhere in your profile.
Yeah.
You also mentioned the keyword strategy. And so we do this self audit. We take a look at where we are, where we aspire to be, right?
Yep.
And when you look at all the different channels, because I know that you get this question, if I was going to start, where would I start today?
If you were to start today, I probably would still start on Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook is still, in my opinion, the number one social media platform. I know Instagram's right behind it, though. I know we're going to talk about Instagram today. I know you talk a lot about Instagram. But still, for most people, I would say 60 to 70% of the clients and prospects that we work with are on Facebook. And what's nice about Facebook is although, yes, there is a lot of noise on Facebook, and we'll probably talk about that, there's a lot of different levels to Facebook. There's the personal profile, right, where, that's really where the relationships, I think, are cemented. And if an agent is just starting out, I think that's a great place to start. It's not necessarily the place to blast your listings or to tell people how great you are, but it's a great place to connect and keep in touch with people in a really intentional way, because real estate's a relationship business, as we all know. Most of our business comes from past clients and referrals. So if anything, use your personal profile to connect, to stay in touch, or as I always like to say, take the online offline. If you see it's your client's birthday, you could be one of the 50 people that writes on their wall, happy birthday, HBD, or you could be like the one person that calls them, or reaches out. And then you've got your business page, of course, which is a whole nother beast. But when done right, you can really leverage Facebook as a way to keep in touch with potential clients and then also attract the people that you want to work with.
So we're going to go to the personal page. Let me ask you, what do you think about this? So I know what I'm going to say, but I want to know, what do you say?
Yes.
And so I have a Facebook business page. I have a Facebook personal page. And when I'm posting, which page should I post to?
Great question. So part of it depends on what it is. If it's something business related, typically what I believe in on your personal profile is 80% of what you talk about in your personal profile should be personal. Now that doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be every, personal aspect of your life, but it could be family, friends, hobbies, passion. You see a beautiful sunset, you're drinking a great, cup of coffee, whatever it might be. Personal. The other 20% can be business. And when I say business, what I recommend is that if it's business, you post it to your business profile first, your business page first. And then from time to time, you can go to your business page and share that business post over to your personal profile. Now, I'm sure you probably believe this too. I don't think you should do that every time. I don't think you should be that person that's kind of annoyingly always talking about business. But I do that periodically. For example, we have a weekly video that comes out every week that's business related. It's tips and tools and strategies, and that goes on our business page. But one of our ways we get that video out, we distribute it, is we share it from my business page over to my personal profile. So it's a nice way to kind of bridge the gap, and also to kind of a friendly reminder to people that you're friends with that, hey, I also have a business page as well. So I think part of it depends on the content. And I will say a lot of people are sometimes hesitant to post to their business page because they don't get a whole lot of traction. And a big piece in that is what is the content you're posting to your business page? Typically the content that gets the most traction is original content, as you know, right? Facebook Live. I know you're the Facebook Live queen, Marky. It's about video, it's about Facebook Live. That original content, it's going to tell the story of what it feels like to work with you. And that's a huge differentiator.
Yeah, well, I love Facebook Live only because it's my best performing content.
Yeah.
And Mark Zuckerberg stated that he wants this year to be the year of stories, Messenger, and Live, which is coming off of a year of Live. So I often give Facebook what it wants. And I do agree with the 80-20 rule. And I tell people, if you're going to post some exciting business, not just another listing, but some exciting business, then I think that they should go live, and they should go live to their largest audience so that they can get that great initial momentum. One of the reasons that I love live so much is because of the engagement. Absolutely. And nothing, when we look at conversion rates, if you've never met a person, this is in the MREA book, if you've never met a person, you have a 1 in 50 chance of converting them versus if you meet them, you have a 1 in 6 chance. Yeah. Well, if we look at this live streaming video, it's screen to screen selling. It's the next best thing to that person meeting you in person. Yeah. So those that are actively using this video, they're getting that great initial momentum.
Absolutely. And it's the great part about it is it's in real time, and I love that it doesn't have to be perfect. It's supposed to be imperfect. So the lighting may not be perfect and your audio may not be perfect. And, it's not going to be scripted. It's supposed to be live. And there's something really, at the risk of sounding corny, it's kind of magical when you're on a Facebook Live. And, if you've ever watched, I know you've watched Facebook Lives, but for the audience, if you've ever watched a Facebook Live and someone has said to you, like Marky, if I watch your Facebook Live and I'm typing in, hey, Marky, and you respond to me like, hey, Katie, I see you watching me, like, holy cow, you just said my name. Like, there's this connection that happens. It just doesn't happen with other platforms. So it's really powerful.
Now, one thing, so we talking about Facebook Live, and you said strategy and the content that we post. So
Yeah.
I know this, I know you practice what you preach, because I was trying to get on your schedule on a Monday, but I'm going to make the assumption that you record on Monday. And this is an assumption. I don't know. You can correct me, right? And so you are diligent in setting aside time in order to create relevant content, and then you come back and you share what you've created. Am I correct based on the scheduling, or no?
Yes, you're very, very close. Yes. And actually, what my Mondays are for, that Monday morning slot, is actually my Facebook Live time.
Okay.
So I have a private Facebook group with our Academy members, and it's the same thing. Like you said, it's that consistency, right? And so we do set aside some other time for recording, but that typically is my Monday morning, sort of my Facebook Live time. But like you said, you got to commit to it. Like, the reason why we've had traction is because we do it each week, week in and week out. People know it's there. They expect it. It's kind of like your favorite TV show. Like, when your favorite show is on, you may not always watch it live, but you DVR it, you watch it later. And we've just found we've had a lot of success from, not surprising, consistently committing to, doing Facebook Live content, and also some recorded content too. But yeah, you got to put it in your schedule, because if it's not in your schedule, it's not going to happen. And, I don't know about you, but I kind of live and breathe by the schedule, right? It's got to be in there. And then what happens is it becomes a habit. It becomes part of a system. And what we found are the agents and brokers that are getting a lot of business from social media, the ones who are getting 40, 50% of the business from social media, they're not doing anything really extraordinary. It's just that they've got a system. They're not hanging out all day on Facebook or Instagram. They just have a plan and they follow it. They time block their schedule. They might batch create some of their content where they sit down and record, a few videos all in one shot, which I'm a big believer in. If I'm going to do my hair and makeup, I might as well record a few things in one shot. So that's really kind of the name of the game, just getting yourself into a system, into a rhythm that works for you.
And what I can respect is that you are protective of that time. Mm-hmm. And so not only do you put it on your calendar, you make sure that you protect it. And so if you were looking at, in coaching realtors, how much time do you believe they should set aside, either daily or weekly, to create that content?
Sure. So I think a couple different things. I think on a daily basis, at least at a minimum 10 or 15 minutes every day, just as kind of the simple check-in, right? So if someone's really busy, they've got a lot going on, at least 10 or 15 minutes, either in the morning before you open up email, because email is a black hole that you'll never get out of. So you got to do it in the morning. I usually do it every morning. So I'm drinking my cup of coffee. I believe in the idea of Focus 5. Where if I only have a few minutes, I'm going to hop on social media and connect with at least 5 people. And that doesn't mean just liking 5 things, but really trying to be intentional, commenting, connecting, maybe sending a private message or a happy birthday video, or really kind of connecting with at least 5 people every day. It should only take 5 or 10 minutes, right? And if you're really good, you do it on Facebook and also Instagram, depending on how much time you have. So at least 10 or 15 minutes every day until it becomes a habit, right? Like when we think about email, we don't time block our email. A lot of us don't. It's like you just, do you go, oh, should I check my email? Like, yeah, you just check your email, right? It's the same thing with social media, right? So just kind of making it part of your daily habits, in my opinion. On a weekly basis, I would say setting aside at least 30 minutes to an hour once a week. Again, you got to protect that time. For me, I do it on Friday afternoons. For whatever reason, Friday afternoon tends to be kind of a quiet time for me. And that's where I create some of my content and I look ahead to the next 3 to 5 days. Right? So as an agent or broker, just set aside 30 minutes to an hour and you can look at it and go, okay, Tuesday I've got a new listing coming up. Monday I'm going to do a quick post about a Monday market update. I think I'm going to post a throwback Thursday on Thursday. And you start to just kind of think ahead. And it doesn't mean you're automating everything. It doesn't mean you're hitting a button and just blasting people. But that consistency, here's the thing, Marky. Consistency, as you know, builds trust. Consistency builds trust. And when you are looking to work with a professional and, look at the biggest financial transaction of your life, it's all about trust, right? So that consistency makes a huge difference. And then you can fill in from time to time. If you feel like hopping on Facebook Live or taking a selfie, you can do that because you've got that consistent rhythm happening.
Consistency, strategy. I mean, look, we treat this like a real business. Duh. Okay. It is absolutely 100% a real business. I am loving it. Now, I'm loving this Focus 5, but you just said something and I'm thinking I need to alter that. And that is scheduling the time for the email, because
Mm.
the email can just take over all
Yeah,
day, every single
totally.
day, right? It can
And
take
all
over
you're
the
doing
day.
is checking email. It's like,
That's
that's
it.
really it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna work on that. I wrote my little note. I'm gonna work on that email.
Yeah.
And so we have the Facebook, starting with Facebook, and then we know the power of video, and that this year roughly 84% of all content viewed will be in the form of a video. And we know that now vertical video is one of the vertical, I call it vertical, but it's stories, right?
Yeah.
Is one of the fastest growing forms of content in the history of the internet.
Hmm.
What is your aha moment on Instagram and or IGTV in the past 7 days? Because I've had some ahas in the past 7 days. So we're gonna make this real timely. What has been your Instagram aha?
Well, yeah, Instagram's blown up, you know. I mean, it used to be Instagram was a nice like kind of add-on thing. Oh, the kids are using Instagram. I mean, it's blowing up in a big way. And you know, in a lot of ways, I look at how Instagram is now and think, gosh, this was kind of how Facebook was like 5 or 10 years ago, you know, like with the amount of traction and engagement you can get with Instagram. And I love that Instagram is such an aspirational platform, which is perfect for real estate. You know, it's a little less noisy than Facebook, but like you said, stories and IGTV are just blowing up. And specifically with IGTV, you know, I had jumped on IGTV as you did, you know, probably right when it launched, and I was putting videos up there and, you know, kind of getting so traction. And I think Instagram made a huge move recently where and I know I've seen you talk about this, where now when you take your vertical video and you put it on IGTV, you can share a preview of that video over to Instagram. And, you know, at first I was like, I'm not sure. We'll see I don't know if I like how it looks in the feed, blah, blah, blah. And then I said to myself, you know what? Just put it out there. Let's see what happens. Sometimes done is better than perfect, right? So I had a video. I shared it from IGTV over to my feed, and I was amazed. You know, previously I was getting a couple hundred views on my IGTV. I shared this one video from IGTV over to my Instagram feed, and it blew up. I mean, I think I've gotten like 1,700, 1,800 views on this video. And what that tells me is that Instagram, and I'm sure you've seen this, is putting priority towards IGTV videos. They're putting it in more people's feeds. It's getting more traction, which means more eyeballs, more likes, more comments, more engagement. And so to me, that motivates me to put more and more video over there, to share it over to my feed, and just really, you know, reiterates the fact like that's where it's at. You know, there's a lot of eyeballs over there right now.
You know what? I have three, and I was just talking, and then I took the time to look at the numbers, right?
Yeah.
And I said, oh my goodness. And so if the video is less than 60 seconds, it cannot preview in the feed.
Yeah.
And so I posted a video of Carrie, and it was 105 views. The next one was longer than 60 seconds. I hit the preview button. It had 789. The next one, I did the same thing. It was 840. So I'm like, this is a 700%?
What's going on? Yeah.
Right? Like what just happened? But
right.
what I've realized today, if we're going to take it from IGTV over to the feed and we put a cover on it, that we should create that cover where everything is, all the words and graphics are centered in the form of a square.
Correct.
Right in the middle of the screen.
Yep.
Because it'll have the best look in the feed.
Yes. And can I share an app that I think is great for that?
Yes.
Okay. You probably know about this because you know about all the apps. But one of my favorite apps to do what you're talking about right there is an app called InShot. Just IN and then InShot. And basically you can just take any kind of video. So I shoot a lot of my videos horizontally because I'm also putting them on YouTube. I'm putting them on Facebook, but I want them to look good on IGTV. So we'll take that video and we have a video editor we work with, but for some of the videos that he doesn't do or just other videos we want to kind of repurpose, it's really easy. You can open up that app, import your video, and then it'll format it vertically, and you can do just what you're talking about, or just that square part. You can add maybe a little bit of text like a title or your logo. So it's vertical, it looks great on IGTV, but when it gets pushed into the feed, it looks nice too, because then you see that sort of cropped square version. So there's a free version of that app. I think there's a paid version too, but super easy to use. And especially just, we're in this age of like repurposing content, which is like the name of the game. If I'm going to create something once, like we got to think about how we're going to put it in multiple places. It's important.
Well, that brings another question up because we agreed on the 80-20.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I want to see. When we start thinking about the content, how many people or what percentage of your audience do you believe see that first initial post?
On Facebook or Instagram or both?
Let's go with Facebook. So I make this, I do a post, it's a good post.
Yeah.
What percentage of your overall audience, let's say we do it on our personal page, do you believe see that one post?
I think it's a small percentage, but I also think it depends on what that post is, right? Like typically, as you said, I mean, video content and Facebook Live are king, king and queen. They're the one, that's what you're going to see first. Typically, more eyeballs are going to see that, and then it's usually a graphic, and then it's a text, and usually like a link post gets like the fewest number of views, typically speaking. So it's probably a small percentage, probably like 20%. And that's why, I'm a big believer that with agents and brokers, if you can create content that's evergreen, so it's, it's timeless, it's relevant today, but it's relevant 3, 6, 12 months from now, there's no reason why you can't reshare that. In fact, I would guess most agents have never shared the same thing on Facebook twice, right? Because we think, oh, we don't want to be that person. I don't want to be annoying. But I don't know about you, but I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, let alone what I saw on Facebook or Instagram. And so
I cannot remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
Maybe even this morning. It was only a few hours ago. Like,
yeah,
it's just, and so that's one of the things we do. We have a new video. I'll just give you a quick example that goes up every Wednesday. We reshare that video on Facebook, again, a couple days later, a few months later. And we do the same thing with Instagram. One of the things we teach is this idea of batch creating your content. If you're going to sit down and create one little, Tip Tuesday quote graphic, why not create like a dozen, and then, you've got content for the next 12 or so weeks and you can repeat some of that, right? So it kind of goes back to this idea of just working smarter, not just harder.
Yeah. And you know what? I agree with that. My number, I told them 10% because so many agents say, well, why would I reshare it or why would I share it on other platforms? I said, well, let's look at the engagement that you're receiving off of any given post. And it could be a great post, right?
Yeah.
It could be great relevant content. And I'm guesstimating about 10% see it. So that gives me 10 more times somewhere in the future, other platforms, right, to reshare that same content because I want the whole population. If you take the time to create it, right, to have had the opportunity to at least engage with that content. So we're sharing several of the same philosophies. So we talked about platform. What is one thing that you tell? I know you do the photo quotes. I know that you do video. If I was going to create one thing today, what should I create?
I would highly recommend video. I think video content is still the most important thing. I think Facebook Live is definitely important. I think it's a little intimidating for a lot of people right out of the gate. And so I think video content where you can record it. If you don't like it, you can always delete it, redo it a couple times. Don't overanalyze yourself though. Sometimes, like I said, done is better than perfect. I also think with video content, like I said, it's easier for a lot of agents to batch create their content. And I do this every month. I sit down once a month and I record 4 or 5 videos in one shot. Because like I said, if I'm going to do my hair and makeup and sit down, get my lights up and whatever, and do video, I might as well do, a number of them. And so part of this goes back to this idea of having a system. And with video content, I think a lot of agents still kind of think of video as, videos about their listings or their open houses, which is fine. But really the type of video content I would encourage anybody to start doing is content that's informative, and things that are timeless. So I'll give you a quick example. Everybody can, you could go into Google and Google how to get your home ready for the market, or you could Google, how to move to Denver or whatever area, right? There's thousands of videos. But Marky, nobody's going to say it the way you say it, right? Like nobody's going to have your voice inflection. No one's going to have your experience and your expertise. So it's not just video for the sake of being informative, but don't be afraid to kind of add your flair, add your personality in there. And the more you do it, the better you get. It's just like anything. The first video I did, terrible. It's probably on YouTube somewhere, but you do it, you get better. It's just like anything else, but I would highly recommend video to answer your question, because I think you can repurpose it. You can put it on your Facebook business page. You can do a little bit of advertising with it if you like. You can put it on YouTube, which helps with the Google atmosphere. You can repurpose it over on Instagram. It works on multiple platforms.
When I'm talking to realtors, they often say, well, one, I don't know what content to come up with. And I honestly, I am so baffled by that, because I'm like, we talk all day
Right.
about something. And so when I start, going into being hyper local, it's always about who are you trying to attract. So in my own creation, I don't talk about luxury real estate, jumbo mortgages, because I'm on the south side of Chicago, and there's not a lot of that exists. So I talk about the needs and wants of the Chicago south side. Is there one go-to place that you think the realtors can get content ideas?
Yeah, I think honestly, the best content ideas, I think, are just from your own experiences. I always encourage agents and brokers, if you can take 10 or 15 minutes where you close your computer, put your phone down, take out a notepad and pen, and just think about all the questions you get asked all the time. Especially those questions where you get asked something and you're like, if I get asked this one more time, that's a great idea. Right? So starting by just thinking about all the things that people ask you all the time, like you said, all the conversations that you have. And if you get stuck, I would recommend opening up your email and looking in your sent email, right? What are the things that you're answering through email time in and time out? And to you, they might seem like redundant, basic, but they're redundant and basic because you that's what you do, right? You're a professional. And for most people, they're buying and selling a home maybe every 7 to 10 years, sometimes a lot longer than that. So I honestly think that's one of the best sources for inspiration. Just like you said, the south side of Chicago, that better than, any other area, because that's where you live, that's where you work, that's where you breathe, so that's what I'd recommend. You could go to other sites and get inspiration for content, but here's the challenge. A lot of like other sites that are out there, you're going to get really kind of generic content ideas, which that might be an inspiration as long as you put on your own, personal spin on it. But I'd recommend just kind of thinking through your own experience. Who are the last 6 to 12 clients you worked with? What were their issues? What were their questions? Start brainstorming. And I bet you if you really took 10 or 15 minutes, you could probably come up with 10, 20, maybe even 30 ideas of content.
That's a great recommendation in the sent email, because I definitely know that I'm telling people something in every last one of those emails. And I would probably say today we might even think about going back to Messenger.
Absolutely.
I cleaned out my Instagram inbox, and I don't know what made me. Well, I know what I wanted to do. Anybody who had asked me a favor, I was asking them a favor, and it was when I launched the podcast.
Yeah.
And it took like a day, right? Because at the car wash, every place I'm cleaning it out.
Yeah.
Let me be honest with you. I will never clean out my Facebook Messenger. It's never going to happen. But I thought to myself, like, golly, I answer a lot of questions in the course of any given day.
Yeah.
So if you're actively selling real estate, whether it was that email or going back to Messenger, every last one of those answers could potentially be video worthy answers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And just keep a notebook handy. I love my phone. I love technology, but there's just something about a notepad, and if you're on the phone a lot and you're calling back clients and you're answering emails, as things come up, just make little notes to yourself. The other thing I'll mention too is like sometimes with content, one big content idea could also be like split up into 5 or 6 videos. For example, how to get your home ready for the market. Holy cow, most agents could talk like an hour and a half about that. So that one topic could be kind of broken up into maybe 4 or 5 different videos, over the course of 4 or 5 weeks. And you could do a little video series. Hey, for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be, sharing one big tip on how to get your home ready for the market. And so the idea with video content is to give some information, but also you don't have to give away the farm, right? If you've done a good job, people are curious and they're like, I like her. I like what she's got to say. I want more information. I'm going to reach out, right? So that curiosity factor is important too.
So with people reaching out, and the fact that we're adding a call to action to all of the content that we're creating, telling people what we want them to do.
Yeah.
What do you recommend as a tool or a resource that realtors can utilize to capture those leads? Are you just telling them to go to the inbox? I know that we use landing page and
Sure.
all that great stuff,
Yeah.
but what do you think would work best in the world of real estate?
I think for real estate, again, simple is best. So I would say either one of two things. Either have a call to action for them to call or email you, right? That's super easy. Call or text. That's another great one. Hey, call or text me at whatever the number is. Email is another great one. Or comment below, right? So if I'm doing a video about, I don't know, 3 ways to get your home ready for the market, and I give a couple quick tips, I might say, hey, I'd love to hear from you. What questions do you have? Put them in the comments below. Right now, the key is making time to make sure you go back and answer those questions and respond and interact with people. But yeah, I would say keep it simple. The key here, though, is not to give people like 16 different things to do. Right? I see this all the time with agents. They're like, hey, thanks so much for watching. You can call, you can email me, you can go to my website, go find me on Pinterest. I'm on Twitter. Like, just pick one or two things, right? Call or email is great, or comment below.
So you know what I'm taking from that? We need to add the call to action,
Yeah,
but keep it simple.
exactly.
Right, because they're not going to remember all that and do all those things. Now, you know what? One thing that you just said, and I'm thinking about this, if they were to do a live video from their business page, then I would probably encourage them to look at a bot, because if people comment with a certain word, that bot could auto respond, but that would only be if they were to do it to their Facebook business page.
Correct.
And oh, well, let me ask you this, because I know that we haven't talked about it a lot in the world of real estate. How do you feel about bots?
I think when done right, I think bots can be really effective. I've actually just had a really great conversation with some folks, actually the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services convention, about this. And it's like anything else, if it seems super overly automated and fake, no one's going to like it. But there's some great tools that are out there that can help, automate certain things, and especially with bots. I think if you're really clear that it's a bot, that can be really effective. And I've seen people do that really well, where they kind of make up a little name for their bot or whatever, and you can tell that you're interacting with a bot, but it's friendly and it's also helpful, and you're getting really good information. So I think it's all on the execution of how you do it. I have to say, though, I think the best execution I've seen is like you're talking about with Facebook Live, where people can subscribe to your Facebook Live, or they can, if you've got a certain keyword that pops up and people are commenting and connecting with you, then, you can set up some auto responders. So it's a little bit more of an advanced tip. I'd recommend, if someone's just getting started, just get comfortable in front of camera, start there, and then you can always take that to the next level.
Yeah, wait, not only get comfortable in front of the camera, but be consistent in doing it, because there aren't any one-hit wonders. Now, Katie, I know that you offer coaching. Your book is up here on my shelf. It's up there. You are an author. How would someone connect with you, engage you in coaching them? I know you have a podcast coming out. So tell people a little bit about you, the products and services that you offer, because I know you have some great things.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, well, really the best way for people to reach me is through my website, katielance.com. We have hundreds of free resources on our blog. We have weekly videos that come out. We are launching a podcast here pretty shortly, which is exciting. So we'll be putting some announcements out for that. We have a great email newsletter that goes out each and every week with tips and tools and strategies. And really what we're passionate about is helping agents and brokers get smarter about how to use social media. Time is our most precious asset, and it's all we have. So I don't think agents should be hanging out all day on Facebook. And so that's at the heart of what we believe in. That's what we teach. The biggest way we serve agents and brokers is through our Get Social Smart Academy. So if you go to katielance.com, click the little Academy button, you'll find out more about that. It's a great on-demand training platform where agents and brokers can sign up, and then they get access to all of our training and webinars and courses. It's a lot like Netflix, so you can binge watch all of our training right there. And we also do a lot of speaking and training. So a lot of times you'll see me speaking around the country, just like you as well, Marky. So But like I said, we're just real passionate about helping agents and brokers. We love this industry. And if there's any way that we can help any of your listeners, we would love to do that. So katielance.com, best way to find us.
Well, Katie, I appreciate your time and energy. I've taken my notes as I do all the time because I pride myself on surrounding myself by people who are smarter, brighter, and more gregarious than I am. That means you always got someone pulling you and someone pushing you. And so there's a couple of things I need to go and make some modifications and changes to just based on you sharing your time and energy. So I appreciate you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. And big shout out to you, Marky. Like I love following you. You have so much energy. You're such a positive force in this industry. And, there's unfortunately a lot of negativity out in the world. And I love what you're doing. I think you're creating some amazing things and really helping a lot of people. So thank you so much for having me be here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And look, we're going to get our next date on the calendar because we're in our infancy of building, right? Great content for Realtor members. And so we probably shouldn't wait as long the next time, but we'll get back together again and do something great again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.